Okay, stand by Facebook and YouTube podcast. We are live here, and we're going to try to go live here on. I am live now on Instagram. And I'm typing in my title, The Sports Scope, on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. This is my first time going on Instagram Live. Just put hashtag Sports Scope. Going to talk about a mock draft. I've got my top 10 of the way I think the top 10 is going to play out. I'm going to mention all the quarterbacks, guys. I get it. I know it's a big deal. As far as I know right now, next Thursday, draft night, I will be on the Mac and Jack special edition of the Mac and Jack show for the NFL draft around between probably 8:30 Central Time next Thursday, the 29th. Guys, be there. We'll go over that. Also, but today's program, I'm going to do that mock draft. Mike Tomlin signs an extension today. What does him and Bill Belichick have in common? We'll get to that. I did my mock draft top 10. Alex Smith, retirement. Jordan Reed. Gonzaga officially not the Cinderellas, and we'll talk about that here coming up in basketball. Aldon Smith, I jumped the gun. We'll talk about him as well. But first, in life, you just do not want to live life in regrets. I remember one time working my butt off, guys. 1996. I'm 15 years old, everybody. And I was trying out for the basketball team, Fort Walton Beach, Florida. And I tried and pressed on. We had conditioning leading up to football. It was in football season leading up to basketball season with the basketball coach for the junior varsity. Running really hard, working out. I was in great shape with the players to be on the team, some of the players, trying to make the cut, throwing up on the field. Told my dad I wanted to quit. I did temporarily quit. My dad said, go back. He said, go back. You don't want to be 35 years old and thinking, man, I wonder if I could have made that team. So I went back. I did end up not making it. I just simply didn't make it. But I did feel better about going back. Another personal story. You know, people were mocking me going to New York City at a high school. Time and time again, you'll never do it. You don't got the money. There's no way. It's the most expensive city in the country, yada, yada, yada. And I wanted to do it just to prove everybody wrong that I can go up there and live with my roommate from high school. And for high school for roommate. And I told you last week I did. I went up there for 9 months. It was a valuable learning experience. But I do not have any regrets. Alex Smith had made $50+ million on his rookie contract alone back in 2005. He's made over $189.7 million, 16 years. If you want to take 1 year off that, he still made over $180 million. But he did not want to have the regret of not coming back on that field after that gruesome knee injury. He says, I'm going to come back here no matter. I'm going to give every single thing I got to come back on this field after that knee injury. Jordan Reed had been out on and off for years. He could have retired. Jordan Reed could have retired 2 years ago, and I wouldn't have had any issue with that. He had concussions, you know, and Jordan Reed did. Jordan Reed said, no, I want to go out on my own terms. So he comes back, he plays, and play and contributes to the 49ers even in a losing season. And neither one of them said they have regrets. So that's my advice for you all. Don't listen to anybody. Think for yourself. Live for yourself. Don't live to please others. When you live to please others, you're going to be an unhappy person. That's what Kevin Durant said before he left Oklahoma City. He said, I was just living to please people, but I'm not pleasing myself, and I'm very unhappy. And I don't care what anybody says. And so he ended up going to Golden State, and the rest is history. But as far as Alex Smith, the guy was a Charlie check down guy. Drafted number 1 overall, made $189 million. And to give you a little history lesson, folks, some of you younger listeners, that same year, Aaron Rodgers was drafted 24th overall. Guys, a 3-time MVP. And what I talked about last week, in life, some of your most, and that was so embarrassing. He went to the draft room and nobody else was there, Aaron Rodgers. And to this day, he still has that chip on his shoulder. I don't know personally if he would have been the player that he has become today if he wasn't drafted that far down. I mean, he's still playing, plenty of years left. They're exact same age. Maybe Alex Smith is a year younger. But Aaron Rodgers, if you wonder why Rodgers has the chip on his shoulder that he has, as he was drafted in the same draft that this guy, and not only that, the Northern California team that his hometown drafted Alex Smith over him. He went to Cal, Pickles. He went to Cal. 24. He was there by him. I remember like it was yesterday. I was working, and I'm like, man, this guy from Cal was the only person in the draft room. All the other players who were invited to the draft were drafted over him. And the guy is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, But I'll say this. I would love to hear his side of the story. He's never been fully transparent of how deep that really has ticked him off. I would like to see it, but I don't know if he would have been that player that he turns out to be. In other news, Pickles. But yeah, kudos. I think he had a great career. Alex Smith, he's a good comeback story. You can make a movie about Alex Smith going back to him. It could have ended, folks, when he made it to the playoffs last year. Or it could have ended in that great Cowboy game that he had around Thanksgiving. It was interesting stuff. Okay, Mike Tomlin was in the news today. Mike Tomlin signs a 3-year extension with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I was looking up some information on this guy has never had a losing season with the Steelers. Yeah, Carlos, I remember that. That was really something. Moving on, though, Tomlin, 14 years, never a losing season, 49 years old. One of the youngest coaches ever to coach in the Super Bowl. One of the youngest hires by a team. And, I'll say this about Tomlin. Now, same issue as Bill Belichick. Nobody is talking about this. That people want to know. Steeler Nation wants to know. NFL fans in general want to know, can Bill Belichick and Mike Tomlin win without Ben Roethlisberger or Tom Brady? Not just win. We know Mike Tomlin. We know Mike Tomlin he won 8. He went 8-8 with 3 different quarterbacks. One guy named Duck Hodges, who I'd never even heard of, and I follow this stuff, guys. So, but here's the key. Here's the knock on it. Can he win without Ben Roethlisberger? Can Bill Belichick win without Tom Brady? Can he win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady? That is going to be the intriguing question. Tomlin is only 49 years old. Bill Belichick is 69. Belichick's a better coach. I get it. But Tomlin, you can make the argument, Tomlin's got the better organization. 3 coaches, Pickles. Since 1969, the proudest organization in all of sports, maybe Green Bay's with them there, the most consistent. And they're like the good to great company motto. They hire from within, and they stick with the same model, and they adjust as they go. So Bill Belichick is 69. He's exactly 20 years older than Tomlin. And my question to you is, who's going to win it first if either will win a Super Bowl? And if it's me, in the next 2 years, because here's my knock on the guy. He's 8-8 in the playoffs. Tomlin is 8-8 in the playoffs. The team often will play down to its competition, losing to teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, losing to subpar NFC teams. That's the knock on him. Bill Belichick, what have you done without Brady? He was almost fired. He was fired technically from Cleveland. He was going to put his house on for sale before Bledsoe got hurt, the number 1 overall pick. Now, that being said, the next 2 years, Pittsburgh's got to be aggressive and go after another quarterback. Now, I don't know. Will not win with Ben Roethlisberger. Well, Roethlisberger is probably past his prime. I can honestly say that. They've had issues finding quarterbacks. Now, my guess is that both of them will win without their quarterbacks. My guess is, number 1, Belichick. You look at some of the games he coached last year, how close they were. My thing is they will both win without that. That's what I'm saying. And I know that's a weak answer. I know that is weak. But I believe that in this draft, the Patriots will get a quarterback. Hopefully it's Justin Fields. And I think that the Steelers will be patient enough. In 2 years, they got to get rid of Ben. They've got to move on from Ben. I love Ben Roethlisberger. I followed him since his very first play in the NFL. It was in the Dallas Cowboy game in 2004 when Tommy Maddox got knocked out of the game. The rest is history. This young quarterback comes in, makes a few throws, the team wins. They get the number 1 seed, and they get put out ultimately by the New England Patriots. But I think the Patriots. But if I had to pick one, for the sake of you guys saying it, I would say Pittsburgh is probably going to be more patient with Tomlin than the Patriots are with Bill Belichick. And you say, why do you say that? Because Robert Kraft has already butted heads with Belichick. He's criticized the draft picks, and we know that Belichick is involved with drafting. He's criticized that in the past or here this year. And he's a big Brady fan. Now, remember, Belichick wanted to trade Brady for and keep Garoppolo. He did not want to do away with Garoppolo. But I think that they will be aggressive enough to get their quarterback, the Patriots. And I think before Belichick leaves, he will win another Super Bowl without Brady at 69. So by the time he's 75, which 75 is not what it used to be, I think he will. And I think the Steelers, who are going through multiple offensive coordinators, I think they'll be patient enough with Tomlin for him to win a Super Bowl. 49-year-old Tomlin, he's got a great GM there, and I think that'll happen. Now, neither one have their current quarterbacks that can win a Super Bowl on the roster. Do not get me wrong. Neither one of these guys will. They're going to both have to be aggressive. The Steelers are going to have to trade up either in the next 2 years, preferably this year, but it's not Dwayne Haskins. Roethlisberger's going to be done. It's not any of those other guys. I think Shula may have quit at 70, but I want to say Marv Levy was coached to almost 80 Pickles. 80 years old. So I think that Belichick will do it. I got a gut feeling that he's going to do it, but I think the same pressure is on him. Now, if I were an odds maker, I would say Tomlin because he's only 49 years old. But Belichick, it looks good for 70. He looks about 55. And he's got carte blanche, and he is willing to negotiate. But, yeah, Marv Levy was older. Some of these college coaches, guys, Bobby Bowden, Joe Paterno, were both in their 80s. So, and these guys have systems that work for them. Pittsburgh's got a better drafting system. The Patriots have been more aggressive this past year. Now, the Bills are going to be a tough out for New England, but I believe that Belichick will win one. I believe it in my heart. I think within the next 5 to 6 years, they'll get a quarterback, whether it's either Jimmy Garoppolo or Justin Fields. And I think his defense is good enough. If you look at every single game last year, that they will win. So it's a really good argument for sports talk right now. Nobody's talking about it. That's why I'm the best, you know. But anyways, in other news, Aaron Donald got off the hook here. He's fine. Aaron Donald, I was talking about, nothing good happens after midnight. The guy withdrawn his complaint. Actually, Donald was a helper in that, but it still goes to what I told you guys. When you're hanging out on these nightclubs and you get caught up, things happen. So kudos to Rams fans on that. One day after I'm praising Aldon Smith, now he's wanted in Louisiana on second-degree battery, which means I think, Pickles, that Aldon Smith, former 49er, this guy had been suspended for a while. He's got a whole list of things that he was suspended for. Played well with Dallas last year. Thought he turned his life around. And now he's wanting second-degree battery. Seattle, last I read, they're monitoring that situation. And the Browns had cut Sheldon Richardson. I think teams like Tennessee will look at him. And, of course, the Seattle Seahawks will look at him. Anybody in contention will look at him. Okay, speaking of coaches, I almost missed this soundbite, guys. Jimmy Johnson, one of the most yeah, that's probably what it was, Pickles. He's probably out drinking and acting a fool. Jimmy Johnson, former Dallas Cowboy coach. He's won 2 Super Bowls with his player. 3 Super Bowls were won under Dallas. Won a national championship with Miami. He's a great eye for talent. He's one of the last coaches to do both, general manager and be a head coach. And he said it cost him his marriage. That is not my line. That's what he said. Said it cost him his marriage. And I've got a soundbite here. He was on Colin Cowherd's asking him about pro days, what he looks for in a player. Jimmy Johnson was a psych major from Arkansas, and he's the most honest coach I've ever heard. Brutally honest. Listen up. This was on Monday's Colin Cowherd show. Jimmy Johnson, the great Jimmy Johnson.
No, I can't think of anything in particular.
Talking about pro days, evaluation.
The most important thing for me on pro days or even the combine was getting to know these players personally. I didn't want to draft anybody with a high pick unless I knew them personally and unless I've been around them. Because we can all see, in fact, I was talking to Matt Rule about it. I said, the very first thing is, can he play? I said, but then you've got to be able to predict, is he going to get better? Is he going to improve? And, the number one thing I said, there's 5 characteristics that I look for, the intangibles, to see if he's going to get better. Number 1 is intelligence. I said, hit me in the head with a hammer next time I take a dumb guy. I said, the second thing, I want a gym rat. I want somebody that works hard, that loves to compete. The third thing, I wanted a playmaker. I don't know if you're a golfer or not, but when you're playing golf, there's certain guys that if they got a 6-foot putt, they're going to miss it every time. And there's certain guys with 6-foot putts, they're going to make it every time. Well, that's the playmakers I wanted, the guy that can make the basket. And then the fourth thing, I wanted speed and quickness, and the fifth thing is character. You can't win championships with bums.
Can't win championship with bums. I like what he said about playmakers. And another thing he said about playmakers, Jimmy Johnson says, I don't want anybody that's going to fold down the stretch. So basically what he's looking at is a player that makes big plays in big games, a player that rises to the occasion. And he did talk good about Kyle Pitts from Florida. I don't know if he would have drafted a Peyton Manning, a guy who threw multiple interceptions against Florida. He wants guys that – and I've seen this in college that certain players – like, for instance, a guy named Eric Berry, University of Tennessee, very high draft pick at corner, played some of his biggest games against Florida. Pick 6 against Florida. Big tackles against Florida. One of the biggest rivals. So, and I like his honesty going back to Jimmy Johnson. One thing that he said that no other coach I've ever heard admit, folks, is Jimmy Johnson said, and not in this interview, but in another one, he says, like, I got 2 standards for players, okay? If Troy Aikman is falling asleep in a meeting room, I say, Troy, you might want to get up. You want to wake up here. We're still watching film. Now, if it's a special teams player, undrafted player that you've brought in and signed, well, that person's cut. That is not, most coaches would say, no, I coach everybody the same way. The byways, the highway, yada, yada. No, that's not true. You can't cut a first-round pick in the first year of his at training camp, because the general manager and the owner are going to know, what are you doing wrong? Why aren't you coaching this guy up? But that's what I like about a guy like Jimmy Johnson. Very honest, nice guy, good guy to play for. Said, let the mind control the body. Don't let the body control the mind. He used to quote Vince Lombardi. He said, fatigue will make cowards of us all. Other words, come in camp in shape. Don't be out of shape. Be in better shape. Fatigue will make cowards of us all. Now, he didn't say that originally. He got that from Vince Lombardi. The guy's name's on the trophy. I thought that was pretty interesting, folks. I'm going through rapid fire. I'm also going to get to my mock draft here in just a few minutes. Looks like I'm getting close to, let's see, got 4 minutes here. Aaron Donald, we talked about that. Aldon Smith, the craziness on that. Gonzaga. Okay. Remember what I said. Gonzaga, before they even played in the Final Four or the championship game and got beat by Baylor, I said they were a little bit short on talent. Okay. Now, Gonzaga is officially no longer the Cinderella. They have got Chet Holman, the number one high school recruit in the country for 2021. And Jalen Suggs, has officially put his name in the NBA draft. So Chet Holman, number one high school recruit in the country, he's going to play with Gonzaga, committed Gonzaga Monday, made his announcement on SportsCenter. The process was hard. Holmgren told ESPN, I had a lot to learn on the go. And, Mark Few has done a great job. They were short there. They looked like they were out athleticized against Baylor. But I will say this, that was huge. I mean, this team is built up the old-fashioned way. Just one guy getting in there, working, being consistent, playing the long game. Mark Few. Kudos to Gonzaga. I was talking about this on the Mac and Jack Sports Show with these likeness rules now. And I noticed USC's already putting together a department there to make videos and commercials to help players out. I think players capitalize on likeness and the ability to get the free marketing from playing on national TV in the college game. Maybe, just maybe, Adam Silver and the NFL will be able to, or the NBA, excuse me, will be able to work out something with the NBA PA to change that minimum age to 3 years after high school. It would be great for college, and ultimately it would be great for the NBA, and the players are not getting left out. Probably won't happen, but I'm a dreamer, okay? But I'm not the only one. Is that what John Lennon said, Pickles? So anyways, I thought that was pretty cool stuff here. Let me restart my podcast, folks, and get on the whatchamacallit here. Okay. All right, mock draft. Okay, this is my mock draft for the top 10, Carlos. And I think I'm going to mention, I might have made it down a little bit. I think I did get to 11, Carlos, so I will talk about the Giants too. This is my top players that are going to go in the top. I got to 12. We'll go on to 12. That's as far as I could get with the prep work and everything. I'll try to get this finished by at least next Tuesday. The draft is next Thursday. I will do work on a little bit on it for this Thursday as well. I know there's a lot of talk about the 49ers. We've got conflicting reports over the weekend. But Tom Pelissero from the NFL Network, plus what's the guy's name? Peter King from Peter King, Monday Morning Quarterback or whatever. I don't know if he's still working with Sports Illustrated. Both of them are still saying that Mac Jones will still go to the 49ers. Okay. They still stand that the Mac Jones will go to the 49ers. I want to hear a few little notes before I get started with my mock draft. My observation is this is a quarterback-heavy draft. This is a wide receiver-heavy draft. There's players like Pickles, Rondell Moore, who's 5'9", who ran a 4.29 40 from Purdue. That reminds me, Pickles and Carlos, of Steve Smith, former Carolina Panther, former Baltimore Raven. He's big, he's small, but he's very tough. He's got game speed. Okay. It's a good wide receiver, good early top offensive lineman and guards. not so good with pass rushers. It's not really so good with defensive players in general. It's not that deep with defensive players. Now, corners are pretty good, but tackles and defensive ends, safeties, I haven't heard anything about those positions. There's some running backs in this draft. There's almost a running back in every draft that you can get. That's why I wouldn't pay him a big bunch of money in the second contract. That's just me. Okay. This one is no big breaking news, no hot take. Trevor Lawrence is going to be a Jacksonville Jaguar. Pencil that in. Zach Wilson going to be a New York Jet. Pencil that in, okay? There's too many mock drafts. There's too many reports. Sam Darnold was traded to the the Panthers. That's just is what it is, folks. Okay, so again, Tom Pelissero with the NFL Network, Peter King, and there was some other guy that said again. I know what the odds makers are saying that Mac Jones it's still going to be Mac Jones. Now, Peter King did say this. It could be Mac Jones or the North Dakota State quarterback here. Geez, my mind just went blank. Trey Lance. I think it's going to be Mac Jones. What I want it to be is Trey Lance. Again, Steve McNair, Acorn State. Josh Allen, Wyoming. Miami of Ohio. These small school quarterbacks that get a lot of publicity and get regarded as first-round top-of-the-line players are usually better than people expect because they have to be that much stronger, that much faster, have that much better workouts than the players who play on big teams, blue chip teams with other blue chip prospects. Okay. So I would like for 49ers to take Trey Lance, but from what I'm gathering, I think they're going to take Trey. I think they're going to take Mac Jones. Okay. Number 4. Atlanta. Some mock drafts have had Atlanta taking Trey Lance. I would like for them to take Trey Lance. Jimmy Johnson agreed with me. He would like for them to take Trey Lance. But the fact that they're already looking to trade this pick, they said we're taking open calls. It could go either way, but my guess is they're going to take Kyle Pitts and put them with their offensive personnel. He's the closest can't miss person. Todd McShay said that's the highest grade I've ever gave on a tight end. Some are saying he's like Kevin Winslow Jr., Kevin Winslow Sr. type of player. Shannon Sharp, Pickles was a good analogy. Excellent 40 time, plays up, and this is the Jimmy Johnson thing. He plays up in big games. A lot of his highlights are against Alabama, Georgia, NFL talented cornerbacks, linebackers, outrunning them, catches the ball in traffic. So I think that they're end up either going to trade this pick or take Lance or Pitts. My guess is they're going to take Pitts. They're going to be stuck with them. They're going to ask too much, and they're going to end up taking Kyle Pitts from Florida. Okay. Cincinnati. Remember now, Cincinnati, Jamar Chase played slot receiver, ran a 4.38, played with Joe Burrow in LSU, set the world on fire. He runs sub 4.40. Now, I saw a 40 Jamar Chase ran last year. Before he ran his pro day, it was like 4.5, 4.6. So I thought, maybe this guy's slow because he catches the ball over the middle, don't score a lot. He ran it again. He ran it sub 4.0. He ran a 4.38 40, and he's got the best hands. Every draft review I read, he's the best receiver in the draft. That being said, Cincinnati needs protection for Burrow. That's how he got hurt He was playing against that good defensive line in Washington, and that's how he hurt his knee. He's making a speedy recovery. They need to protect this guy, and I think they're not going to be stupid. They've got 2 good receivers they can use now. I think that they take Penei Sewell, the left tackle out of Oregon, guys. I think they take this tackle out of Oregon. Don't be stupid. This is who I think they should and who I think they will. Okay? I want to emphasize who I think they should if I'm the general manager of Cincinnati, and I think they will. This guy's also practicing Penei Sewell out of Oregon. He's practicing at right tackle. I know that they have a left tackle that came over from Alabama. He was hurt his rookie year. He played last year and did a pretty good job. So you've got to get Burrow some time back there. I like the running back there. They've got Joe Mixon. They signed him to an extension. They have their other 2 wide receivers there. They've already got rid of A.J. Green and got 2 great starters, Tyler Boyd, and, of course, the guy they got out of Clemson last year that turned out to be a rock-solid player, could be Pro Bowl level. Yes, Jonah Williams. They've got Jonah Williams who can play left, but Penei Sewell can move to right. I will let them both play left during the preseason and make a decision. I got a feeling Sewell's going to beat out Jonah Williams, and they're going to move Williams to right. Okay? Okay, Miami. Miami has Mike Gesicki. 53 catches, 703 yards, 6 touchdowns. Mike Flores. Loves the 2 tight end set. Now Miami could, if Kyle Pitts is on the board, I think Miami will take him and use that 2 tight end set. But they did sign Kyle Fuller, who played all the games the last 11 games the last 2 years, only 7 year before that. Jamar Chase is a very reliable guy. I just talked about him when I talked about Cincinnati. I think now Miami needs offensive linemen too. They could take Rashawn, what's his name? Slater out of Slater out of Northwestern. He is a guard tackle guy that they can move around the line. They may take him. I got a gut feeling that they did a pretty good job on the offensive line last year. I got a feeling they're going to try to up that receiving core. So I think Chase is going to go down to Miami. You're going to put him with Devontae Parker, Will Fuller, Mike Gesicki, the tight end I just talked about. Jamar Chase can win Rookie of the Year. He could run Rookie of the Year. He won't have the best corner on him. You can move him around the slot. You can move him to the outside. He's being compared to Anquan Bolden. He would be great with the young quarterback. He can run tight end routes. I think that they're going to draft Chase at 6 if that pick is not traded. It was talked about being traded. Maybe somebody comes up with Miami and makes that play. Maybe Denver comes after a Trey Lance there or Justin Fields at 6. But if they're stuck with it, if they're stuck with that pick, I think that they're going to take Jamar Chase, the LSU sensation. Okay? Okay, now 7, Detroit. I do not think Detroit's going to draft a quarterback. I know people's talking about Detroit maybe draft a quarterback. They got too much invested in Jared Goff right now. They did lose Kenny Golladay to the Giants. They lost Marvin Jones to the Jets. They got a great tight end, TJ Hawkinson. Love their running back out of Georgia last year. I think he's going to be a centerpiece. Got a fair offensive line. Do they need help? They've always need help on defense. But here's the thing. Defense, there's not a lot of big tackles in this draft. There's not a Khalil Mack level defensive player in this draft. I mean, yeah, Michael Parsons possibly at LSU. But when you've got a Jared Goff who's a stick man at quarterback, folks, I think that they're going to, you know what? I think they're going to take Devontae Smith. I think they're going to take the speedster out of Alabama. Check this out, Pickles. Devontae Smith, 117 catches, 23 touchdowns his junior year last year. He ran a 4.27 in the 40. I'm not mistaken here. I checked it twice. Devontae Smith ran a 4.27, and Henry Ruggs ran a 4.28. He had 40 catches for 8 touchdowns. That was the speedster that Alabama last year that the Raiders drafted. Henry Ruggs ran a 4.28, but he had 40 catches, 8 touchdowns, and John Gruden fell in love with him, took him like he was the next coming. Devontae Smith had one of the greatest wide receiver years of all time in the history of college football last year. In a college season, he had that's just great for a pro, Pickles. 117 catches and 23 touchdowns. He runs a 4.27. He would be great in that dome with a TJ Hawkinson at tight end there. Okay? So I think they take Devontae Smith to Alabama. So you've got Devontae Smith off the board. You've got Jamar Chase and Kyle Pitts off the board. All right? You got Penei Sewell off the board. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones off the board, in which that leads us to the number 8 pick. Now, Carolina, maybe Denver comes up to 9, maybe New England. But if they are stuck with this player, I think they're either going to go 2 directions. Rashawn Slater, the tackle/guard out of Northwestern. But like I said the other day, folks, I think that this Carolina team has a worse time stopping the run than they do. Teddy Bridgewater was a stick man, and they still got rid of the football last year. They have a running game with McCaffrey. I don't think they're offensive. It's about 16th to 18th. It's middle of the road. It's not terrible, okay? It's not terrible. And Sam Darnold's a pretty athletic guy. So I think they take the best defensive player to help them stop the run. I think, and a lot of people's not going to agree with me here, but I think they take this Parsons guy. This player out of Micah Parsons out of Penn State, folks. I think Carolina takes him, this Penn State linebacker, okay? And then number 9, Denver. Now, Denver, it came out today officially, and this has been rumored for weeks, and I've said this myself. They're not going to they're not going to go on with Drew Lock anymore, okay? Now, I don't know what Denver is going to do offensive coordinator, but I put out on my page here that they've got Jerry Jeudy, they got Noah Fant, they got Melvin Gordon, and they've got Cortland Sutton, other wide receiver, and Hamilton's not a bad wide receiver, and they don't have a bad other receiver as well. The defense is not that bad. They got Kyle Fuller, great cornerback signing, brought Von Miller back and Bradley Chubb on defense. So, even though he's only 20 years old, I'm not sure this is the best fit for Trey Lance, but I think that Denver, if somebody don't jump them and go to Carolina, I think Denver takes Trey Lance. I know a lot of teams like Trey Lance. Washington is supposed to really like Trey Lance. 49ers, Peter King says it's either Trey Lance or Mac Jones. Okay. I wouldn't mind seeing Atlanta take Trey Lance and let him sit for a year, maybe 2. He's only 20 years old, okay? He's only got 17 starts, but there's a lot of ceiling there. There's a long way for him to go. There's a lot of real potential with Trey Lance. He's rumored to be a great worker. a grinder. So I think that Denver takes Trey Lance. I do not want Denver to take Trey Lance. I don't know what Denver's going to do because I don't think they can put together a good scheme. But either way, the player, if I'm the head coach there, even if I'm defensive-minded head coach, I'll say, we're paying Melvin Gordon $8 million a year, son. Give him the ball. We're going to flip the ball to him. We're going to use your Noah Fant, a very, very talented tight end. And then when the defense comes in, we're going to go up top and we're going to use this Jerry Jeudy guy that we spent a high draft pick on last year, okay? So Trey Lance is a Denver Bronco at 9, okay? Dallas picks number 10. This is one I agree with Mel Kiper on, okay? Dallas picks at 10. The Patriots are at 15. Bill Belichick is rubbing his hands saying, yeah, I'm 69 years old, and I need me a quarterback. And I got to be aggressive. We were super aggressive in free agency, getting multiple tight ends, multiple receivers. We signed a big name off of on the defensive pass rusher from the Baltimore Ravens. So I do think the Patriots trade up to 10. I think that happens. I think that the Patriots work out something with Dallas to go up 5 spots, to take Justin Fields, to work with Josh McDaniels, and, of course, Cam Newton. Fields can sit under Cam Newton and under Bill Belichick. He's going to have a lot to prove, and he's in a structured environment. I do not think Fields should go to Atlanta. If he has any inkling of work ethic issues, you do not want him to go in his home state of Georgia. You want him to get as far away from Georgia as he can with a strict, structured environment. Bill Belichick, who knows Urban Meyer, who has got as much information on Justin Fields as he can possibly stomach. Okay? So I think that the Patriots draft Justin Fields here. With this, what does Dallas need and what should they take at 15? I think they need cornerback like nobody's business. They either take former Alabama player Patrick Surtain. If he's off the board, they take this guy Horn, J.C. Horn, the cornerback from South Carolina, Joe Horn's son, or they take Caleb Farley from Virginia Tech. They're going to take a corner. They should take a corner, not unless they go crazy and trade up for Kyle Pitts. There was a report that would be whatever side of the bed that Jerry Jones wakes up on. Okay, so number 10, the Patriots make that move, come up, and they take Justin Fields. Number 11, okay. The Giants need an edge rusher. They took an O-line last year in the first round. There's possibility they may take Jalen Waddle, but I come back and I say they signed Kenny Golladay to a lot of money. So I do not think, but the fact that they got Kenny Golladay, they got Ingram there, they still got Sterling Shepard there, Carlos, with the Giants. So I think that they go defense here. You got a defensive-minded head coach, okay? I think that they take this guy, Kwity Paye, Kwity-Paye, edge rusher. He's the highest-rated edge rusher out of Michigan, and he comes in and helps this defense out. That's what I think that they will do, okay? And number 12, Philadelphia. And I think whatever corner's left at 12, whether it's going to be Caleb Farley, Surtain, or J.C. Horn, I think they take one of those 3 as well. They could also take Jalen Waddle to help out with the young quarterback they got, the former Dallas Cowboy. I can't remember his name now because I wasn't that Jalen Hurts there. So that is my top 12, 13, folks. That is far is I made it in my mock draft, but that's the most important, okay? Where the quarterbacks going to go? I do think all those quarterbacks are going to get drafted. None of them are going to go past 15. Again, I mentioned Minnesota. Yeah, Devontae Smith. Minnesota could possibly take one of these quarterbacks. That's why I think now they drafted 14. The Bears have been known to trade up in the past. That's why I think that they could go up and maybe jump to Atlanta at 4 or Carolina at 8. I think that's possible. I think it's going to be too hard for, say, the Patriots to come up to 6 with Miami because it's in the same division. In that same interview, Jimmy Johnson said one year he had a trade worked out. It was like his 4th year in the league, 3rd year in the league, 3rd, 4th year, something like that. 3rd year, I think. He said that I had a trade worked out, Pickles, with Joe Gibbs with the Washington Redskins. And we had it all the way down, and it was getting closer. It was getting closer, and he's like, okay, where's the paperwork at, Joe? We're about to draft. We want to trade down. We want to trade down because we think we got our player. We want to get another pick. And Joe said, the front office stopped me. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I can't trade with you. So they end up taking a player named Alvin Harper, who had later helped them win a Super Bowl. He said, we wanted to get Harper at a later pick. We got him at an earlier pick. It wasn't Joe Gibbs' fault. It was the owner stepped in because it was the rival Cowboys. Teams rarely trade in their conference like that, in their division. Not unless you're New England. They don't have any respect for the Jets. The Jets in New England have worked out a trade before. But it was for somebody like Brandon Marshall when he was washed up. But Gibbs wanted to do it. And I like Joe Gibbs. You got to put Joe Gibbs' name in the greatest coach of all time talk because he's won with Joe Theismann, Doug Williams, and Mark Ripken. He's the only coach that I know of that's won with 3 different quarterbacks. Okay. Let's see. Guys, I've got everything. I mean, we're at 52 minutes in. I will be back here Thursday around 9 p.m. Central Time, give or take a few minutes here. Everybody, if you like the show, please share the show Instagram. I don't know how this has come back, but it seems like I'm live here, and it seems like we have no setbacks. If you want to contribute to the program, I want to thank Jane for contributing to the program. Kathy, family members there contributed to the program. I appreciate that. You can go to the Zelle, Zelle app, and the email is sports scope, SKOPE at gmail.com. You can contribute to the program there that way. I'm still working on the Patreon account here. I'm going to try to go, I keep saying this, and stop by one of these digital marketing places out in the Franklin, Tennessee area and get them to help me out, set up this Patreon page. It's an ongoing struggle there. Thank you, Pickles, Sharp Soup. Yeah, I wear my black with the vest here and the tie. I'll probably wear this next week when I go on the Mac and Jack draft special. Looking forward to that. Going to have my bottle of water. Going to have my mock draft here. I'm going to try to finish my mock draft for this week and give you the last 15 there. Go rapid fire. What I do is I look at what they need, and I go on a series of other mock drafts with my own opinion, and I'm pretty close at that. I get very close to nailing these things. I tell you what, general managers love speed. They love speed. You see these players. They love to take interior players early, preferably, and they like speed. That's one thing I've noticed. Players that don't get talked about, but they're pretty good on tape, but they're not a lot of tape, but they got speed. They're going to be Cooking with Gas. Thank you, Kathy. You are the best. I really, really appreciate that. Everybody sharing the program here. And like I said, I will be back. We'll talk about this stuff Thursday. And we'll see what else. And we'll also go over the other big name news stories in sports here. NBA is getting close to playoff time here in the next few weeks. Got a lot of players that have been injured. Seems like Kevin Durant can't catch a break here. Yeah, Wisconsin, Stanford always has a good Pickles talking about guards from Wisconsin. Wisconsin, Stanford, good interior linemen there. Notre Dame has had good linemen lately. Not just Nelson. Our left tackle that's playing for our right tackle, the 49ers, playing pretty well. So, anyways, guys, I will see you around 9 p.m. Central Time here on Sports Scope.